I had grown up very conscious about my weight because early on, my mom and many others would make jokes and directly criticize the fact that I was big. This created a feeling in me that I could not explain, but it was not a nice feeling. Having a very good artistic eye, I could dress very well, but I always carried about me the feeling that people were staring because of my weight, and that weighed me down seriously. I took teas, started and stopped exercising countless times. I tried to psych myself up, and I did almost everything I knew I could in order to lose weight. But it just seemed like for every 2 pounds I lost, I was very soon going to be gaining 5. This self-consciousness made me very defensive in approaching issues because somehow I had the feeling that people would negatively factor in my size to whatever they were doing with me. Perhaps, just like my face is different from everybody else's, if I had been told early on that it was okay for me to look different from anyone else, if I was made to be proud of being me, I would have taken a different direction in how I reasoned. Unfortunately, I had none of those assurances growing up, and so my preoccupation was losing weight, which only increased my insecurities about my appearance and far from helping me to lose weight, made me do things that further increased it. What started out as a quest to feel more secure about myself quickly became a desire to lose weight, a wish to know exactly what other people were thinking about me, a hope to only eat specific things at specific times, a feeling to undo many of the experiences I had in my childhood, and many like that. All the stories I had heard about things not making sense at first, but doing so much later, seemed to have no bearing on my weight, because the harder I tried, the more fragmented my thoughts became. I started trying to avoid thinking, because it looked like whenever I did, I always managed to add to the growing list of questions that I had no answers for. I tried to focus more on the outside, but outside had my weight, which was also asking its own questions. Questions that would inevitably push me back inside, where I would meet more questions that were waiting for their own answers. This back and forth was excruciatingly exhausting, not just because there were so many unanswered questions, but more because each question asked had a way of bringing a whole new set of unanswered questions, and the cycle continued. Painfully, my weight was not the only aspect of my life asking questions. My disjointed life journey was probing even harder. While I could exercise, diet, and even surgically work my body into shape, it was impossible to do anything about the things that had already passed. And of those things, my youth was on top. At a stage in life when most girls are still trying to come to terms with their menstrual flow, I was already pregnant. While I was still struggling to come to terms with what becoming pregnant at that age would do to my life's aspiration and dreams, I was married. So I went straight from being a little girl to becoming a woman. I was a young girl, a big girl, never mind a lady. Being married came with some security and protection from a society that would have made me into a damn villain. not necessarily for having sex, but for becoming pregnant doing it. And it also provided a protection for myself due to my original inclination to abort the pregnancy so that I could live a more normal life. On the flip side of the coin, there was more than just security that marriage also came with. Marriage came with restrictions. Suddenly, I couldn't just make decisions for myself. I had to be accountable to someone else, someone who was way older than I was. So what was supposed to be a romantic relationship was actually more of a father and daughter relationship, which was great at first. But soon, the body wanted more freedom, more of the pleasure to be gotten from being a beautiful lady, and more control of everything that concerned me, all of which looked impossible with marriage. It was just not about what I wanted to do. It was also about the things I could never do again, like the opportunity to choose who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. In addition, my hormones were also raging. I had sexual and emotional cravings, and it looked like all my marriage did was stand in the way. Eventually, something had to give. It all started as friendship. Anything to expand my circle of affection. Friendship became closeness. Closeness turned into needing, and needing found ways of satisfying itself. Still, I never got the satisfaction which I badly longed for. Sex, whether it was within or outside my marriage, only created a stronger feeling of loneliness and unworthiness that only added to my frustrations. I look back at the many times I was beaten badly by my parents, especially my mom, and wondered what good they'd really done for my life to be the way it was. The more I thought about it, the more thoughts multiplied. Yet, I wasn't any closer to answering any of the questions on my mind.